say, young Susan, the minute you put this on social media, you could see there was an immediate kind of response. You must have been very heartened by that, because it's always a gamble when you try something new anywhere. But how did you feel when you kind of saw, okay, people understand what I'm doing here?
Yeah, I think I felt relieved more than anything, you know, because you have this vision, you put a load of work into it and it's ready to go, and you're nervous it's not going to work, or you're going to be left standing in a shop by yourself. I really did feel it was missing, that it was the right demographic. We have a lot of families in the area and it will be suitable, but yeah, definitely heartened by it.
Now, I know you've managed to save your soul from the corporate world and move into this, but it was quite a journey, because it was your second child. You sort of recognised that they needed a bit more attention, and you looked into, you know, what sort of, you know, facilities what can I do for my child? Your third kid in particular really kind of nailed it home that I should be doing something here for like what kids can do. I know I'm jumping slightly, but New York was the key to it. When you were in New York, you recognised, oh, this is what you can do. This is how this.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I left the corporate world really reluctantly, you know, and always thought I would go back to it. And as time went on, and then my third child came along, you change as a person. You know, I was very rigid, very structured. You know, had this plan of how everything was going to be, and then suddenly, you know, you have a child that has extra needs, you change as a person, you see other people, you meet different types of people, and moved to New York. And as a family, we didn't know anybody, we didn't move over to anyone. And of course the shopping at the start was all great and everything's exciting going into the city, but then normal life kicks in, as it does anywhere, and inevitably you end up on the weekends going, what we do. And you know, America is great for whatever you want you can have. You know, there's all different types of things going on. So my son, he didn't really like art. He wasn't into art at all, but he loved the movies and stuff. So my husband would say, you know, a new, you know, Marvel movie would come out, the girls weren't interested, and we started to venture in and find all these different creative places and love them. There were ones just for adults, there were ones just for kids, there was all different ones, and every time I went I'd say that would be good, that wouldn't work, that would work. You know, I was taking photographs and it started to build in me, you know.
And you said, sorry, that your grandparents, when they were visiting, the idea they could come along as well, so it's very family. It's not just, oh, your kids are going to learn how to do something.
No,
there's a sort of community, family.
We brought their grandmother over, and I said to her, I want you to see this place. Now unfortunately she's passed away now, and she'd never painted before, and she came and saw, sorry.
That's nice. Hello, ladies.
Hi. Do you want to pause?
Oh yeah, well you can fire ahead on this. If one of the girls could deal with him, that'd be great. Would that be right?
Yeah. So we, she came over. She was quite nervous about it, but I really did want her to see what it was about. And I was thinking like this would be really great. We'd no intentions of moving back to Ireland. I had other ideas of fusing a couple of them together, over in America, and she did it. We encouraged her to do it. That painting ended up hanging in her dining room, and at her funeral it was there, and it was we have it now, and yeah, it was lovely.
And was there any convincing on the rest of the family, or even with your mama that this would be something I'm definitely going to do? I don't know how the process happened for you, whether there was you were convinced from the start, whether it took a little bit of time, maybe the move back in 2021.
Well, I moved back, and then I looked at a returnship back for women returning to the workplace, and I did an interview with a big company, several interviews with a big company, did the whole process, got towards the end, and I was like, this is not for me. You know, this, you know, I just was not in. I was different. I was a different person, and my heart wasn't in it. And I was like, yeah, the money would be better, you know. But you know, so you as you get older, it's not the be all and end all of everything. So I kept looking. Base Pizza was going in. I was like, that in Greystones. I was like, that would have been a great spot for it. But it was very, very difficult to find a place where there was parking, because we have a lot of parties, so you know, you have drop off and pick up, and had that large space that I wanted. I had visioned.
You must be very happy when you spoke with Donald Egan finally, because he was very kind of on board. And
Well, he brought me to a place, one of the upstairs businesses. There's lots of little businesses up here, and I went up and I walked in. I just said no, and he was quite taken aback because I was just like no, and it was dark. I said I need somewhere at least twice the size. Big bright window, it's art, you know, it has to be that kind of place. So he said, well, I've two places downstairs, come in, have a look at them. And we discussed it, and I went off and I put a floor plan together, and from that then we went, and each step of the way we discussed different things that would work, wouldn't work, and you know, and we put it together.
And was there a point where maybe once you've even decided that this is where it's going to be, that you just basically know it's going to work? I don't know if there was a turning point that you felt comfortable and said, okay, this is the right thing.
No, I'm still not comfortable. And if I'm honest, throughout the whole thing, I used to wake up sometimes and say, God, if I heard it was burnt down now and I didn't have to do it, I'd be glad. But because it's hard opening your own business. It's a nerve-wracking thing, you know.
And you know, if people are going to come to your party, you just don't know, until you open the doors.
You just don't know, but you know, my husband was great. He talked me down, you know, a lot, and said, you know, take a breath, and you're doing great, and the whole lot, and I'm a numbers person, you know, so I was constantly looking at the numbers and saying, you know, a huge effort went into sourcing the materials around Europe. Where
you were saying that, with the mosaics and then the drawing kits and all that. These are things that you're really keen that you got the right, you know, materials here. That wasn't
it's very difficult in Ireland as a business to source materials. Like when I first looked at this in America, I was like, oh, I need mosaics, and I'd type in that I wanted them. It was like, yeah, here you go, at a fraction of the cost, and delivered to you next day. And then you come to Ireland, and it's not here, and even a lot of
you would think we're an arty-farty people. You would have thought there'd be the business would be there.
We just don't have the population to have the
sustain that kind of money.
We just don't have it.
Right.
So I found suppliers all over. I found ones that worked, that didn't work, and I'm constantly tweaking it all the time. Because at the end of the day, they're good quality products that you're leaving with. I know what I would like with my children when I'm going there, and you know, and we're changing all the time. But you know, to say I've been in a comfortable spot, no.
But you do seem, I know it's still early days, but it seems like it's a right fit. Like it seems obviously you're very kind of, you know, tuned into what you're doing here, but it just seemed like a place that belongs here, as it were. You know, I don't know.
It was definitely missing.
Right.
It was definitely missing. Like even when I like lots of times over the last couple of years when I was looking, there was many days when I'd say to my girls, I said, now see, if that was around today, that's where we would be heading, you know. And I've had visitors over. I had visitors over in February when this place was only getting ready, and it was very difficult to find things to do.
Right.
You know, with children, like we had whatever there was in Wicklow, we tried, but the weather was awful during the midterm break, you know. And
are you sure you're in Ireland? Are you sure? You're talking about Ireland? Bad weather.
Oh, yeah.
Holy moly, that was very unlucky for you, because normally it's great.
There is a pottery place in Dublin, but it doesn't really cater for children. Like it's 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and that's it. You know, so to have somewhere close by is brilliant, you know. So
closed Monday, Tuesday, you're open every other day. I would think you're probably going to, you know, evolve as time goes on into what people need, so you'll always be able to figure out.
So Monday, Tuesday, the reason for that was children are back in school, families are regrouping at the start of the week, you know, after the weekend, you know, you're getting your washing done, you're catching up and all that, children have activities. So we close Monday, Tuesday. That sometimes we're still here, we're in the back doing the kiln work and firing the pottery, but this week, the first week off school, we're going to see how it goes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and if the demand is there, we'll just open 7 days a week for the rest of the summer.
Well, that's what I was thinking would probably happen inevitably, as you kind of build up the name, people will realise what they've got on their doorstep. And but I put all the hours and the links and everything up above, but congratulations. I know it was a long journey here, and it's always a worry when you kind of commit to something that you just don't know, as I said, if people are going to turn up, but it does seem to be working, and it seems to be working really, really well. Yeah,
people love it. We have a huge amount of repeat customers, you know, some families, they've kids here who are just saving their money. We'd one little girl, Lucy, who got rewards for goals that she scored, you know, and
Wow.
she's winning several times.
That's
and then
great.
a huge part is special needs groups, which I didn't see at all.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, that's really been a big response.
It has been like St. Catherine's, and they're doing again this weekend, so they do a lot of
And they're great
respite.
artists. Like the kids have
Yeah.
entered our art competition. They just make beautiful mosaics and
and you know, we have lots of things behind the desk there that they give us, and we keep to wish us good luck on the way. And
Sweet.
you know, it's really lovely. And they come in, and when they see it fired, and it looks so different, and it's shiny and everything, and they're happy. So yeah, that's
And if you
very
end up with a
rewarding.
Yates or a Picasso, you get 10% of their income
Absolute
from
20.
20%. There you go.